Gamers, do you want to be toxic? Do you want to be disgusting? Do you want to be hated by every person that you face in the ladder? Then check out this card right here, Nightmare Corruptor Iblee, right? So this is just a new little playstyle that Maz and Jadistic in my Discord introduced me to for YUBEL, and I figure, you know what? Might as well throw this in a video. I'm not dropping enough videos lately anyway, and honestly, it's not a bad build of the deck at all. I'm not convinced that this is actually the best way to play YUBEL, but it is definitely the most toxic. So, you know, if you want to get some free wins from opponents just raging, not wanting to having to deal with Iblee, you can set up an Iblee, and you know, it's pretty nice because like on your opponent's turn, if they normal summon anything, you'll also have like Escape of the Unchained, so you can just pop their normal summon. And what makes the Iblee Lock really annoying with this deck also, keep in mind, is that Nightmare Pain basically stops you from crashing with Iblee. So like if they want to just turn the Iblee to attack position and go to battle phase, all they can crash into is like your Phantom of YUBEL, which has 0 attack, right? So Iblee will not be destroyed by battle, so they just can't do that. The Iblee Lock is really easy to do within YUBEL, so if you just want the general game plan and just go do it yourself without even looking at the replays, you can also just, I'll just tell you, basically, you summon Iblee using Gigantic. The way you make Gigantic is instead of summoning Appaloosa, you can actually make Gigantic using your Soul of Rage as well as your Cross Sheep. You can use 2 Link 2s to make Gigantic, so then you go Gigantic, summon Iblee from the deck, and then you go Iblee plus Gigantic, make Elf. Iblee goes to the grave, triggers her effect, goes to your opponent's side of the field, and then you can use Elf to bring back your Unchained Soul of Rage that you had used as material for Gigantic Sprite. So at that point, they have Iblee, you have Unchained Soul of Rage, and the rest of your setup, you're basically foregoing the Appaloosa to give them an Iblee. And yeah, I mean, is it better? I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that it's better, to be completely honest with you, but I do think it's more toxic. You know, it is more toxic. And if you want to see your opponent rage quit as soon as they see what you're summoning with Gigantic Sprite, then Iblee's a pretty good option for that. I'm going to be showing you, I guess, some replays just to introduce you to the thing. And then if you want a step-by-step for the combo, I'll also do like solo mode step-by-step, just so you can see the combo. It's really simple though, so like it shouldn't really be any trouble to pick it up. If you're already familiar with YUBEL, this is just an alternative build you can try out if you haven't been having a great time in ladder. Also, just for the deck list in general, the ratios might look a little bit weird. I keep changing them. I was running Super Poly, I removed Super Poly. Right now my extra deck is at 14. I wasn't too sure what to add. Maybe Muck Raker, I guess. Yeah, so I just keep messing with the ratios here. So, you know, not exactly a full-on deck profile. More, well, kind of. It's like a half deck profile. Anyway, whatever. Let's get into those replays. All right, so here we go. This is going to be just like the quick version of the combo, just for the people that just want to see it. So this is just as simple as it gets, the 1-card combo. You go Lotus, summon Spirit, set up Nightmare Pain. Then we can go for Nightmare Pain, pop the Spirit, search the Gruesome Grave Squirmer, summon out the YUBEL, Squirmer, summon, pop the YUBEL effect, summon YUBEL Part 2. Make a Cross Sheep, then we can go and shuffle back 2 to summon the Phantom. With Cross Sheep, bring back our Squirmer, make Lord of Yama. Sorry, yeah, I mispronounced that. And then use the Graveyard effect of Squirmer, summon the Spirit of YUBEL. You know, pop it with the Unchained, summon YUBEL, make our Unchained Soul of Rage, set up our trap. Summon out the Phantom of YUBEL, and at this point, with your 2 Link 2s, you can actually go into Gigantic, summon the Corruptor Iblee from the deck, go into Sprite Elf using Iblee as well as Gigantic, and then you get the Iblee to summon to the opponent's field. In some scenarios, you'll want to actually just basically bring back the Unchained Soul of Rage with the Sprite Elf, because you might have to link it away or use it as material for your Gigantic Sprite. In those scenarios, it's totally fine. You just bring it back at this point in the combo with your Sprite Elf. But yeah, so here we go. We pass, you know, they're locked because of Iblee. They normal summon Snake Eyes Poplar. We're going to go Veiler on Poplar just to negate, and then on Resolution, I'm going to pop the Poplar. I just didn't want them to like get their field spell or the Sinful Spoils spell card that puts your monster in the back row. I forget the name right now. But either way, so I'm going to go for Escape of the Unchained to pop the Unchained Soul of Rage and the Poplar so that they can't make a Link 2 and get rid of the Iblee. And then they're going to go for the Crossout Designator. At this point, I mean, you know, they basically can't play anymore because they can't special summon. They already use their normal summon. We get to bring back our Unchained Soul of Rage from the grave. Unchained Soul of Rage can add back the spirit to our hand so that we can pop it with Nightmare Pain on the follow-up turn. So we're pretty well set up here. We're going to fast forward a little bit. Bring back the Soul of Rage. You know, they get back their Poplar. They scoop it up. That's, you know, that's the typical scenario when you get your setup with the Iblee. You know, that's basically it. So when they normal summon a monster, you just pop it with your trap card. Easy money. Thank you very much. A little bit toxic. It is what it is. Now, to be completely honest, right now in Master Duel, I don't feel bad about anything. This game right now is crazy. The format is disgusting, and going first is really, really bad in Master Duel right now. So I don't feel bad about anything. I'm just doing what I got to do. Yes, it is toxic. I'll say it openly, but I don't feel bad. I'll just tell you that right now. All right, and here I want to show you playing through Droll. So actually, the Iblee ends up being pretty inconsequential, but like for the duel. But I still feel like it's worth showing just because we do get to set it up through Droll here. So I go for Samsara Lotus, then we can summon the Spirit of YUBEL, set up the Nightmare Pain, activate Nightmare Pain, pop the Spirit of YUBEL as per usual, and we grab the trap since we already have the Squirmer in hand. Then we go Spirit of YUBEL effect. They're going to go for Droll and Lockbird. So as you can see here, this is back when I was still playing Super Poly in the deck. So, you know, that Super Poly is here, but we're playing into Droll here. So how do we do this? Well, we can summon Squirmer, pop the YUBEL, summon the Terror Incarnate. With these two, we can go into a Cross Sheep, shuffle back 2, summon out the Fusion, trigger the Cross Sheep, summon out from the graveyard the Squirmer, use these two to go into a Yama. Of course, we don't get to search our Shawarma here because, well, we can't search at all. We're under Droll. Either way, we're going to summon out using the effect of Squirmer to go into the Unchained Soul of Rage. Then we're going to shuffle 2 back into the deck to summon out the Phantom of YUBEL yet again. Make ourselves a Gigantic Sprite, detach a material from Gigantic Sprite, summon out the Iblee, and then we can, of course, do as we did prior. We go into our Elf. Elf is going to bring back the Soul of Rage after the Iblee's on the opponent's side of the field. This is actually a pretty important thing. Don't activate your Elf before the Iblee hits the field, right? Because Elf cannot bring back Link 2s from the grave until your opponent controls a monster. But it is pretty cool that since you're giving your opponent Iblee, you actually get to bring back your Soul of Rage afterwards. But do keep in mind, don't shotgun the Elf here. So after they get Iblee, we grab our Soul of Rage, summon it to the field, set Super Poly. Obviously, now I'm not running Super Poly anymore, so I would have set the trap instead. But here I figured I have Super Poly, might as well discard the trap. That way I have access to 2 hand traps. After all, since we were playing into Droll, we could not set up the Unchained Trap card, which means if they're to normal summon anything, they could just make a Link 2 to get rid of the Iblee. So I don't think the Iblee is going to be that consequential. But, you know, I was like, you know, it's still worth a shot. So, yeah. That's what we did. We're going to pass turn here. And they're just going to tribute summon. That's why I'm saying Iblee was not super consequential here. Although it did force them to tribute summon Gorgeous. I'm not sure if that made a big difference. We're going to go for Veiler on the Gorgeous. And they had the cross out for the Veiler. So yeah, it is what it is. At this point, with the Gorgeous, they get to special summon from the hand a Revealer of the Ice Barrier. We're going to go for Unchained Soul of Rage, targeting their special summoned Revealer, go into SP, and we were about to banish the Gorgeous, but, you know, opponent scooped it up. So, yeah, that's about it. Really, main reason I showed that off was just because I wanted to show that you can set up the Iblee through Droll. I'm not even sure if that was better than just, like, potentially just setting up like an Appaloosa plus a Phantom or something, but you can do it. All right, so for this hand, I'm just going to be showing you, this is just a weird hand basically, but I want to show you full combo with a weird path. So as you can see here, we don't have access to Samsara. We have the Chaos Summoning Beast, which is kind of a brick. We have Shawarma in hand. It's just a very strange hand overall, but we did make it work, and I did get the full combo using the Squirmer plus Almirage combo. So I just want to show that off very quickly. So we go into Squirmer, make ourselves an Almirage, and then we can shuffle back 2 to summon our Phantom. I should have probably summoned the Phantom first, but you know, it is what it is. Then I'm going to go for Squirmer, Banish to summon out the Spirit of YUBEL. They're going to go for Max C, and we're just going to go for Phantom of YUBEL. I'm really surprised they didn't use Max C as soon as they saw Squirmer. Kind of a misplay on their part, to be completely honest, but you know, we'll take it. Lucky us, I guess. And we get to pop a Spirit of YUBEL from the deck, summon out Spirit of YUBEL. Spirit of YUBEL in the grave is going to trigger to summon out a regular YUBEL. So we get to summon out the YUBEL here, and then we get Spirit of YUBEL to set up the Nightmare Pain. Activate Nightmare Pain, and we're going to link away these two to go into a Cross Sheep. Then at this point, we can go Nightmare Pain, pop the Spirit of YUBEL to search another Squirmer. Spirit of YUBEL is going to trigger to summon the regular YUBEL. We can go Squirmer, special summon, pop the YUBEL, summon the YUBEL Part 2. I forget the name. Okay, Terror Incarnate. And then we can go Shawarma, pop the Squirmer so that we can go into our Unchained Soul Lord of Yama. I just wanted to make sure to set up Yama and set up the Soul of Rage. I'm not sure if I did this in the correct order. It was mostly because I didn't have a low-level monster to summon back with Cross Sheep, so I saw no point in summoning the Fusion until I got the Squirmer in the grave. But either way, we get the full setup here. So we summon the Fusion, summon out the Squirmer with the Cross Sheep, go into our Unchained Soul of Rage, and then with these two, we go into Gigantic like we did earlier. Gigantic is going to attach a material to summon out the Iblee. We go into Elf using Gigantic and Iblee, and then we can go and trigger the Iblee in the grave, put it on the opponent's side of the field. Amazing animation, thank you. Very toxic card though. And then we bring back the Soul of Rage, and there you go. That's full combo. We set the whole thing up, and we can just fast forward here a little bit because our opponent does nothing. They just pass on the Iblee, and then they scoop it up. They scoop it up. I will say, I'm going to show you this in the solo mode when I just do the step-by-step, but you do have a way to go for lethal if your opponent just passes on the Iblee, because Iblee has 0 attack, 0 defense, right? So like you can't really just crash into it to go for game, but it is pretty easy to go for lethal. Basically, you just make the Link 3 Unchained, and then you can suck up the Iblee, make an access code that's 5300 attack, so that plus the Elf plus like an IP, an SP is going to be lethal, or even a Soul of Rage. So very, very easy to get to lethal in that scenario. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to show you now the step-by-step combo. So here we're just doing the 1-card combo. Basically, we already have Shavarva in hand, so I'll still summon Yama as if I was searching the Shavarva, even though we already have it. And I'm just going to use 1-for-1 to get into Samsara. So this is going to be the Samsara 1-card combo. So summon out the Samsara here. And here we go. We're going to start off with the Samsara effect, and we're going to special out, of course, the Spirit of YUBEL. Then we're going to go for Spirit of YUBEL effect to set up the Nightmare Pain. Cool. Activate Nightmare Pain. Then we can pop the Spirit of YUBEL. You guys probably already know most of this stuff. I'm going to try to get through it pretty quickly here. Add to hand the Squirmer, trigger the Spirit Engrave, summon out the OG YUBEL, you know. So here's YUBEL. Ba-boom. Now we can go for Squirmer effect, special Squirmer, destroy the YUBEL, trigger the YUBEL in the grave to summon out the Terror Incarnate. With these two, we can go into a Cross Sheep. Go into Cross Sheep, and then we're going to go ahead and summon out the Phantom using the Terror Incarnate and the OG YUBEL. Summon it to where the Cross Sheep points to. Trigger Cross Sheep, bring back the Samsara. Summon out Samsara here. Perfect. With these two, you want to go into a Yama because we don't have Shawarma in hand, technically. Well, either way, you want to go Yama because you want to set it up in the grave for your opponent's turn. But yeah, at this point, you would go for the graveyard. After searching Shawarma, you would go for the graveyard effect of Squirmer to summon out the Spirit of YUBEL yet again. So summon out the Spirit here. There it is. Activate Shawarma. Pop the Spirit. There you go. And you get the triggered Spirit. Yep. Summon YUBEL. There she is. With these two, we can go into a Soul of Rage. We got to get Soul of Rage on field. I really don't like making a Link 2 with a Link 2 and a single monster, but, you know, that's just the kind of stuff you have to do with this deck, I suppose. So here is Escape of the Unchained. Then we can go ahead and make ourselves a Phantom of YUBEL. And honestly, you can use the vanilla YUBEL on the field because it will not end up mattering to have it on the field. So you might as well just remove it. Honestly, so I'll use that, and I'll use the Samsara Lotus in the grave. I like adding back Spirit in hand on opponent's turn in case they can break through our YUBELs, just so if they swing, we can summon it. And then at this point, you go for a Gigantic using the Cross Sheep as well as the Unchained Soul of Rage. Here we go. And you can go for Gigantic Sprite effect. Detach the, well, it doesn't really matter what you detach. Summon out the Iblee. And I'm going to let the bots play a little bit here also because I want to show you guys after. Okay, so here you go for Elf. I want to show you guys after what you do to go for lethal. So you go for Elf here. You get to trigger the Iblee in the grave. Don't chain Elf. Summon the Iblee here. There you go. Then you can go for Elf effect to bring back the Soul of Rage. And we've got Soul of Rage set up with the Trap card, our Phantom of YUBEL, and Iblee on the opponent's field, you know? It's looking pretty nice. And by the way, because we used 1-for-1, we never used our normal summons, so that's pretty funny. But either way, this is the full board. It doesn't look like anything too crazy. Basically, as soon as they normal summon anything, you would pop it. By the way, these days I shotgun Maxi to play around a lot of stuff. They can't even Gamma because they control her anyway, so you might as well shotgun Maxi if you have it. But yeah, so if they summon anything, okay, this is fine. This is okay. Bug Matrix. All right, they set a card. So obviously they can't link summon, but we'll just pretend they summoned it, right? So you could go for Escape of the Unchained, target this and their normal summoned, we'll say monster, at which point you can trigger the Lord of Yama in the grave, banish it, and you can trigger the Soul of Rage in the grave to add back the Spirit. Again, I really like adding back Spirit right now just because in case they get through the Phantom and the YUBEL after that or something, then I can at least like have Spirit in hand so that if they go to battle phase, I can summon it and, you know, insulate myself even further so that they can't just crash the Iblee. Now at this point, yeah, we just go for it. We let that resolve. Unchained Soul of Rage, add back the Spirit, and then this will summon out the Soul of Rage from the grave. And we will not destroy a card. And at this point, before they end the turn, if they're about to go to end phase, you can go for Elf Effect if you never needed it that turn. And, you know, you can just get an extra body on the field just to help you go for lethal on opponent's turn. So I'm just going to grab the Gigantic here. Doesn't really matter, you know. Basically, Sprite Elf plus Gigantic Sprite is 3,000 attack. And on your opponent's, on our turn, we're going to be making a 5,300 attack access code talker. So it should be pretty easy to go for lethal if they end up having to pass with their Iblee. Now, at this point, basically any summon will do it. Obviously, we could do this and pop the Spirit of YUBEL and everything, but I just want to show you the nitty-gritty version. So we'll just go like Sprite Elf here. You could grab like the Cross Sheep from earlier. Doesn't really matter. And then we can go for the Unchained Soul of Thingy. Hold on. Forgot the name. Angst? Is it Angst? Anguish. Okay. Unchained Soul of Anguish, and we're going to go Unchained Soul of Anguish effect, targeting the Iblee. We can make ourselves an access code talker. And that's going to be a 5,300 attack access code talker. There we go. And then, you know, we have easy lethal right here. So yeah, that's the play to go for lethal easily. You know, if you don't have any big bodies to crash into with your YUBEL cards. So just keep that in mind, you know. At first, when I was practicing this deck, I failed to go for lethal a couple times, and then I ended up adding that Unchained Soul of Anguish, and that's helped me a lot with getting to lethal. So yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, and now, well, it's time to do a epic card by card, even though I wouldn't really call this a deck profile because, like I said earlier, I keep changing my ratios. I'm not like 100% on what I want my ratios to be for this deck, but I guess if you want to get a starting point, you can start with this. So I'm running like 3 Veiler, 1 Summoning Beast, triple Samsara, double Squirmer, triple Maxi, of course the Iblee, the double Beckoning Beast, triple Ash, 1 copy of Shawarma, 1 OG YUBEL, triple Spirit, 1 copy of Terror Incarnate. We have the 1-for-1, 2 Talents, 2 copies of Piri Rise Map. This is just like extra copies of Samsara Lotus, 3 copies of Nightmare Throne, 2 copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates, 2 Nightmare Pain, double Called By, 1 Crossout, triple Imperm, 1 Escape of the Unchained, and 1 Eternal Favorite. In the extra, we have 3 Phantom. We have our 1 YUBEL, the Loving Defender for the Trap card, 1 copy of Gigantic Sprite, 1 copy of Almirage. We have the Unchained Soul of Rage, Cross Sheep, Sprite Elf, Muckraker, Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, SP Little Knight, Unchained Soul of Anguish, which, like I showed you, this one's really useful. The Appaloosa. Appaloosa is kind of weird, but I guess there's some, like, there has been scenarios where I ended up going Appaloosa, going second. So I mean, like, Appaloosa won't happen often. You're not summoning this very often, but I guess it's nice to have. I'd say this is kind of a flex spot, honestly, even though it's a crazy card and I don't really want to remove it. I haven't summoned it very much. I think it came up once for me. And 1 copy of access code Talker. A bit of a shorter video, this one. I don't feel like I need to go too crazy in depth. Most people are already familiar with YUBEL at this point because it's all over ladder. So this was more so just to introduce you to a new way to play the deck. And yeah, you know, you can play the build that you prefer. Like, for example, if you wanted to play Super Poly, which I was doing at the start, and it's definitely not bad. It's just that oftentimes it wouldn't really do it for me. You know, you could remove like the talents. You could play Super Poly. And then, like, you know, in the extra deck, you could remove, I would say, probably the Muckraker and the, well, I really like the Anguish to be able to go for game easily. So honestly, I think I would remove Appaloosa. And then, you know, you could add like Garura and the Mud Dragon. If you're a fan of Super Poly and YUBEL, you know, you could definitely do this. And obviously you'll have to maybe remove some other cards just to get the list to be a little bit closer to 40. But yeah, all in all, I did enjoy playing this in ladder. It's pretty toxic, not exactly my style, but at the same time, like I said earlier, right now in Master Duel, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad about anything. I don't feel bad doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? It's just it's been a format. It's been a format. So thank you guys. Thanks for checking out the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and if you haven't already, maybe subscribe. We just hit 22,000 subscribers. That's awesome. Would love to see it go up, all the way up to like 30K someday, eventually, maybe, probably 2025, right? Anyway, thank you and peace.